guys, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello. If you're coming back, thanks for being here. It is August 24th and I just got done doing a little bit of planning for the rest of the year. Basically, I have this little section on my Notion where I look at my yearly and quarterly planning, and while we're still a month away from the quarter ending, keep track of the goals and stuff in there. So I have a couple different things that I track. One is YouTube subscribers and how many YouTube videos I'm posting a month, which, telling you friends, it's so exciting to have you here. Yeah, so I was updating that, and I've been kind of lax on putting my writing goals into the quarterly planning. So I decided to kind of put in what I did this month and what my goals were. So I've had a really hard deadline this month for my fantasy romance book, and I'm very close to meeting it. I will definitely be meeting it before the end of the month, but my goal is to actually do a 24-hour writing challenge and try to finish it by Tuesday. Today is Saturday, so my thought is writing for a couple hours today on Saturday, writing a lot tomorrow, and writing a lot Monday, and hopefully finishing. I have about 7,500 words left before the end of the month. I started doing a bunch of math. It's one of my favorite things, this kind of productivity stuff and planning. So I took Sarah Cannon's HB90 course a couple years ago, and it has really changed the way that I view my goal setting and what I can actually get done. That's been the most helpful part. I guess it seems just oh, I should just know this, that I don't actually get as much done as I think I do, but I've always just kind of berated myself or gotten really frustrated or upset that I don't meet my goals. But then I realized how unrealistic the goals I was setting were, and people tell you set realistic goals, but I think before taking HB90 I didn't know how to do that, and doing the whole task block thing really helped me. Having data to look at and see what I'm actually doing. So this month I was pretty sick in August. I basically was in treatment for a herniated disc and just couldn't do a lot. So it was good and bad, because I did get a lot of writing done this month, but also there was a whole week where I got pretty much nothing done. I think I did 8 days of no writing this month, and that made me have to change my goal from 68,000 was my total that I wanted to get to this month, and then I moved it down to 50 because I was basically there's no way I'm going to make this goal. So basically it wasn't even the full month. I think I made the goal on August 4th after seeing how little I was writing. So I love data. I love being able to look at this kind of stuff, and it's so helpful. So looking at this quarterly planning, I was making my 3 goals kind of for the next month. So 65 is my goal that I want to reach. My middle goal is 70,000 and my stretch goal is 75,000. Originally I just had the goal set at 80,000, and then I saw that I'm going on vacation in September for almost 2 full weeks. We're going to Scotland, and there's just no way I'm gonna be able to write as much as usual because we're gonna be so busy those 2 weeks. I wrote last year when we went on a trip to England, and I wrote on the train and stuff, but that's pretty much all I wrote. So I'm just kind of adjusting my plans for September and realizing I really only have about 2 weeks of normal writing time, and it also will be prep time for this trip. So I just wanted to adjust my goals because this month I will most likely be writing around 20,000 words, and that was a really comfortable writing amount. I could write for about 2 hours a day and get 20,000 words in the month. So we're almost there. I'm not quite there yet, but that's what I'm on target to do. So thinking about it and being okay, unless I write really huge word days in September, I only have 2 weeks. So the idea of trying to get an additional 10,000 words in with 2 weeks less time just kind of seemed very unrealistic. So I adjusted those goals to make it more 10 to 15,000 is kind of my goal, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to revisit these now that I'm saying it to you. I don't know if they make that much sense. So 15,000 is my goal. 15,000 more words, and then 20,000 is my middle goal, and my stretch goal is 25,000, which is wild. I don't think that really makes sense at all. So I feel I need to change this again. I'm gonna do that literally right now because this doesn't make sense. Okay, so I just adjusted this whole thing now that we're talking because I would rather meet my goal next month and exceed it rather than like not meet it at all and be really sad. So I made it 62,000, 68,000, and 72,000. So it'd be really cool if I get closer to the 75,000 range, but as I just said, it all hinges on how much I get done the rest of this month. I don't know, I guess I'll have to update this when I finish this month and kind of see where I'm at and like adjust those goals. But basically, I've been looking at my publishing schedule. So my cover is completely done and I'm like dying to put it on pre-order, but I'm like, you have to finish everything. June, I replotted my book and added a bunch of new chapters and kind of like rearranged some things. So I just went through my document basically on Scrivener to see how many chapters are still completely unwritten that I added in. So it looks like I have at least 5 chapters on my first half, which is where I made the majority of the changes. That's the goal for the next 24 hours to like 48 hours, whatever I'm doing for this writing challenge, is to get the first half completely done. Like on average, my chapters between 2 and like 3,000 words. That's about 10,000 words to finish this first half, which is about where my like original goal is to hit 50,000. So if I have 7,500 words left to hit 50K, that should finish like my first half, like getting to the 50 to 55,000 word mark. But then I have more to write in the second half. Honestly, this is a mess, like looking at this draft. It's like the story is completely plotted now based on like these new changes, and like a lot of things are written, but also a lot of things are written in a way that's like it worked for the previous like plot setup. So what I have to do is really like go through every chapter and do a lot of editing. So what I haven't been doing is just completely ignoring what was already there and like writing anything I knew I still needed to add to the chapter. So what has to happen is I have to basically go through each chapter and edit it so heavily to kind of combine what I've added and what I wrote before, if that makes sense. I don't recommend the way that I did this at all for the rest of the months. I have a bunch of stuff kind of planned of how I'm going to get this book done and my whole publishing schedule. So basically, the first half of the book, very close to being done. I think my book is going to be closer to 80 to 90,000 words total. We are on about 50. So there's still a significant chunk to write, which is not very fun. Not very fun for the schedule. The writing, fun, great, all of that kind of stuff, but this is where I'm at with this book. I have days where I'm just absolutely in love with it, and then I have days where I have worked on this project for far too long. I don't think I will ever take this long again on writing a book. This has been a adventure in self-confidence, in so many things, in not working hard enough to just finish something, but more working extra hard on trying to make something perfect that wasn't even slightly ready to be made perfect yet. I have edited this book so many times. It should never have been edited. I believe the people who said don't edit while you're writing. I believe them now because it is a mess. So I just rambled even more. The plan that I made is that as I'm finishing this first 50 something K, the goal is in the next 2 to 3 days, I'm going to reach 50,000, so write 7,000 more words. And I'm also going to print out the first half of my book, which right now sits at about 21 chapters. I'm going to print them out and I'm going to go through and make sure that we're not leaving in things that count in this like word count that were from an older version that no longer work. So then the rest of the week I'm going to cut out anything that is old that doesn't work, go in, see what my new word count is, and then we're going to keep moving forward because right now I'm feeling like I'm so set on hitting this 50K word goal that I'm kind of pulling like a little NaNoWriMo vibes where it's like, oh, it doesn't matter if I'm not going to keep this in. I need to just keep it in here so I can reach this word count goal right now. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So we're trying to publish the book as soon as we physically can, and it's not working trying to keep things in for a word count sake. And we are going to do a very rough edit, very rough, not the pretty kind, just making sure that everything that is supposed to be there is there and everything that's not is not. Then I'm going to hand them to my husband and probably my friend who is an editor, and I'm going to just be like, thoughts, anybody tell me more thoughts. If there's any like thing that's really missing in these first 21 chapters, please let me know. Like, does this make sense? Is this okay? And then I'm going to write the next 30K at least, which will not be done all in September, but half of it will be. And then I'm going to write the rest of that. And then we're going to edit that half and make sure everything is correct. Then I'm going to polish up the first half, send it off for even more feedback or beta reader feedback in November. I'm thinking beta readers November, but like, don't quote me on that. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this won't be published this year, which is heartbreaking. So my health threw me for a loop this year, and I thought 100% I was publishing in the fall. It's August. We are not ready, which is why I had the cover set up to be ready for the fall. Yeah, I would love to do December. That's like still on the radar, or very early January. I'm feeling like the comfy goal is February. So that would be like, I can do everything I want to and like advertise it correctly, all that kind of stuff. Have like multiple rounds of like feedback, not just like a couple little bits of feedback. That would be like a lot of feedback, and beta and arcs and all that kind of stuff. These are all thoughts I need to think about that are a little bit stressful, but it's like I want to strike a balance of getting it done, because I feel like I am putting it off for no reason sometimes. I feel like I wasted a lot of time. I know it was a lot of learning time, so that's great, but I definitely wasted a lot of time both this year and last year with the whole publishing thing and just like not feeling ready. And now I feel overly ready because I waited, and it's like so frustrating that I'm not there yet because I waited, you know what I mean? But then on the other hand, I want to put out a good book and get great feedback and do all the things that I should do. So I want to like be somewhere in the middle there. My outline for my part 1 of my book. Just doing, I've never done this before. This is from Scrivener, and I'm printing out the little screen cards, note cards, I don't know, whatever they call it. So I'll pull that out because this is a mess. Everything is messy right now. So I'm printing these just like single-sided so I can like write notes and Sunday. I printed out my first half of my book yesterday, and I started on editing it, and not really deep edits at all, more just, does this make sense? Like in the context of where we've plotted the story now, and is it complete? So there's like a few things, a few errors I'm taking out, you know, like that doesn't make sense, that's the wrong word, you forgot a word there, it really should have been this word, like a couple things like that, as well as like crossing out a few things. So I have done that. I'm on chapter 2, and yeah, I've got some edits here. I put in pretty much everything I did last night. I just was missing a whole section of like quotation marks. I just kind of like did a really quick, like I was just writing all my thoughts. So I still have to like edit this a bit more because I think I was getting stuck one day when I was writing this last week for adding this new chapter, and I basically just decided I was just gonna say he said, she said, but like not in a real dialogue, as in like his mom said blah blah blah, and like actually writing like his mom said, so that I didn't have to like get so in my head about like real dialogue tags, I guess, if that makes sense, and more context to it. And then it really got me rolling, and then I wrote like tons, and it was very helpful. So I do that a lot, almost like as if there was a narrator for the story. Like how would they tell the story kind of thing? Like what would they witness if they were just kind of like third party over there doing something? Yeah, I'm just giving y'all a real brief update before I get to work. It's about 8:45 on Sunday morning, and I'm sitting here with an ice pack and my coffee, and already had breakfast and everything, so I'm ready to get to work. My new concept of what I might want to change before like this book is like ready to be sent out to people is potentially having my male main character go first, because his opening chapter is just like wow, and my female opening main chapter is like just okay. She's like a soft girl, like she's not a warrior, he is. So there's not this like really exciting thing that happens in her opening chapter anymore, since I've kind of altered the story a bit. She's like doing her thing, she's doing her normal life, and then she receives a gift that will change a lot of things in the coming chapters. So we just kind of see her life pre everything changing, but at the very end of the chapter like something changes. So good stuff, but we needed to see like where she was and like the context of like what's going on in her world. But I have a really fun idea for the opening, and it's not a prologue. Everyone has advised me against ever doing a prologue. All the writing advice I see, it's basically just like prologues are dead, don't do them, which when I read books is not the case at all. But then everybody just says like you're not the exception, but these books were. I don't know, it's no big deal. I feel like this story would have had a good prologue? Probably, because of like very historical things that happened. But I've decided, I knew I wanted this to be in the book, but I'm like, what if this was the opener to the whole book? Not just like a fun like little extra that I was planning on putting there, but it would like give context to what had happened in the past with like the Library of Alexandria burning, but not like be a prologue. You know what I mean? Like it'd be something, but not quite. So I think I'm gonna do that. I already kind of had it like built an idea to do that, but I think it's now going to be the starter, and then we're gonna jump into my male main characters chapter. But I don't know, maybe that's confusing. We'll have to think about it. So maybe that would make my female opening, her opening main chapter more interesting, but my male main character's opening chapter is just like boom boom boom, so exciting, because his world is the like catalyst. I don't know how to describe that. Yeah, his world is more of a catalyst to the girl's world.